Hi.
Ooh, cool wallpaper.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love wallpaper.
House of Hackney. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me. Maybe for people who don't know anything about We Were Liars, what can they expect when they tune into the show?
Family, drama,
Intrigue,
Secrets,
tan bodies,
rosé, for us.
mystery, first
Trauma.
love,
Love. Like really good young love, like the kind that makes you remember like the first, like when you have to like walk by your crush and you like lock eyes and then you look away and you go like, oh my gosh, and you think about it the rest of the day. That kind of love.
And I do love that it has so many of all those things that you've said, you know, and it's this kind of mix of genres in a way, because there's kind of the coming of age elements, the love story elements, there's a bit of a thriller undercurrent, and then also kind of, you know, analyzing this idea of family legacy and privilege. Had you already read the book when you got the script? And what was the draw for you in getting on board with the project?
I'd read, the first couple, I think, of episodes. And I had read, I didn't have much time. So I'd read a synopsis of the novel. And then once I got the job, read the book and the prequel, and both were, phenomenal, and made me so excited to be en route to work on it.
Yeah.
I'd read the book and was just so excited to see the psychological twists and turns of the novel come to screen.
How it was like enriched and what they added into it, you know, to the,
Yeah. I hadn't read the book until I got the job, and then was like, oh, what? But yeah, all just made me more excited to do the project.
And playing sisters, I funnily enough have two sisters as well. So, you know, you obviously have to make that relationship feel very lived in. And, you know, with family, but particularly sisters, there can be this sort of strange mix of, you know, love and affection, but also tension and rivalry. How did you kind of foster that dynamic between you? Did you have some rehearsal time? How did you make that play out so well?
We rehearsed, and then we took a very memorable trip after our first rehearsal, actually, to Walmart together. We all are mothers of young children, and we had a lot of supplies to purchase. And it was an incredibly bonding moment. And we ended up driving back from the Walmart to our production office and sitting in your car, in the driveway for about an hour, just sort of like telling each other all of our secrets, really. And then that was how we started. But we're a lot kinder to each other than the Sinclair sisters are to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, I mean, I guess they're all sort of dealing with, you know, their perfectionism and their trauma, but they each have very different coping mechanisms. So maybe you could just talk through a bit how you saw each of your individual characters and how you perhaps, you know, needed to see how you're kind of playing off those contrasts against each other.
It's funny that you say individual characters, because there is also an element of like, you know, when you're not knowing your brain from your, you know, like there's a kind of a mind meldy thing that happens. And when you share that kind of that much history with someone, as they do, the process of individuating is very challenging.
Yeah.
Especially when they sort of regress when they get back to the island, you know, into adolescence in a way themselves, you know, as you always do. Like when you go home, you turn into this sort of like petulant version of, you know, of who you are.
Yeah, no, I feel like Bess, I think in particular, very much becomes the baby and the mommy's girl and the daddy's girl, and just wants to like be in on the fun with her sisters, and it's like, don't leave me out. And even though she's like a grown up with children and like a very
Sometimes you
organized
never know.
life, you would never know.
And I think Penny just meets everything with sarcasm. I think she just tries to hold everything about an arm's length away from touching her heart. So that was really pleasurable, if alarming, to play.
And I love the fact that with a show like this, you know, on the one level, you can just like go along for the ride with the story, but then it is raising these questions about, you know, what we inherit from past generations. Or is it, you know, a case of carrying on a legacy, or if it's something that you don't truly believe in, should you be railing against it and standing up for that? And I guess looking to the next generation, you know, the coming up behind us, you know, they should stand up for what they believe in, perhaps. So what do you think the takeaways might be?
All that.
All of that.
Exactly.
And I do feel
Yes.
in such a somewhat hopeless time that our world is in, I do feel a tremendous amount of hope when I look at the younger generation and the passion with which they are speaking about the things that matter to them and the world that they are like calling into being for the rest of us. And yeah, and I think our show definitely touches on that, and it's exciting and I hope empowering for people, young people in particular. We need them.
Yes. And I love the fact that it is kind of through a female lens too, you know, through the idea of motherhood. But, you know, the fact that it's also led by a female team, I think that brings a certain energy to the story.
It was a unique. We also had all female directors, and I mean, there were multiple days where just on the set, I was like, wow, this is the. It was
Yeah.
a lot of women, and not in, but just in a. I just to have noticed it means that that's not an experience I've
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
It was cool to say
really
the
was.
least.
Very, very nurturing and also very efficient.
Yeah.
Love that. I'm out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Huge congrats on the show, and can't wait for everyone else to see We Were Liars. Thanks so much.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.